Young ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Greetings to you from your respective locations, wherever you may be in the world. So, the top story in continental news today, ECOWAS, which is being supported by France. Both of these parties together want to mislead the people of Senegal. ECOWAS wants to deceive Senegal since the new authorities who have come to power in Senegal have been determined, at least for some time now. We see them moving forward with a pan-Africanist resolve that speaks for itself. I would rather call it a sovereignist determination. Senegal has recently announced its intention to break away from the CFA franc. The Senegalese president Bassirou Diomaye Faye explained the fundamental reason why the CFA franc holds no interest for Senegal. First, he said that among the tools that enable a nation's economic development is its currency. However, Senegal has a currency over which it has no sovereign control. Moreover, beyond simply having sovereign control over this currency, it is a currency that is logically and officially based elsewhere, whose management depends on the will of other people, foreign powers, notably France. The Senegalese president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, stated that in order to achieve independence and sovereignty, Senegal must begin by establishing its own monetary sovereignty. He addressed the issue, the famous question of ECOWAS, of the common currency for ECOWAS. This matter of a common currency called the ECO, which we've been hearing about, you could say, since our early years, because since 1997, 1998, when we were still very young, ECOWAS has continued to make people dream about this common currency, the ECO. In the 2000s and beyond, they kept talking about the ECO. But this currency has never come into existence. The Senegalese president had said that if the process is delayed on ECOWAS's side, Senegal would be forced to withdraw and create its own currency. At first being democratically elected, Bassirou Diomaye Faye and his Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko felt that they should not immediately reject everything related to ECOWAS. They too must do their best, since obviously they are young, it's new blood, fresh blood, joining ECOWAS. They thought they could manage ECOWAS so that ECOWAS would get back on track. That's why, from the very beginning, in the speeches given by President Diomaye Faye, he said that we know we can count on ECOWAS, that ECOWAS will return to normal. Unfortunately, the reality is bitter. ECOWAS is not returning to normal. And this is actually one of the reasons why Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, Senegal, is seeking to strengthen its ties with the AES states. What proves this? That Senegal and the AES are not going to establish relations aimed at creating a common currency between them? Or in any case, whatever happens, something is being prepared. And so, ECOWAS rises up, having received firm instructions from Emmanuel Macron. You know there are masterminds lurking in the shadows, working day and night for Emmanuel Macron, working tirelessly to ensure the continuity and success of French foreign policy, especially in Africa, France's African policy. These figures lurking in the shadows made Macron understand that he needs to rouse the dinosaurs of ECOWAS from their lethargy. They are very lax. At this rate, if they don't stand up to say something, do something, and make their voices heard, Senegal will be the first country to leave the CFA franc. Since Senegal is a sovereign country with a democratically elected president, anything Senegal requests from international financial institutions will be granted. Because in this case, there is no problem. It is a regime that is considered clean in the eyes of Westerners, of course. And Senegal is currently learning from the AES how have they managed to hold on until now. All of this gives Senegal courage. Senegal could be the first country to withdraw from the CFA francs. So in order to deceive Senegal, they decided to meet. Now let's go deeper, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go deeper. Yes. ECOWAS brought together the governors of the central banks of ECOWAS. The governors met. And after their meeting, the final decision that was made was that ECOWAS says it fully intends to launch its common currency in 2027. When I even read the word orbit, I thought it was in the heavens. What kind of currency can you launch into orbit? I take it that they're using anaphora here. They're so skilled in French. Yes, just to prove that their master is French. So he says this: despite the delays caused by COVID-19, they blame this illness. Despite the delays caused by COVID-19, the ECO remains an important project for the West African organization. Here is the statement made by Umar Aliou Touray, president of the ECOWAS Commission. So, this gentleman, who is a respected financial analyst and observer of regional economic developments, recalled via the digital platform Spotonic that the governors of the ECOWAS central banks, representing various West African nations, recently convened in the bustling city of Lagos, Nigeria. They gathered there to reaffirm, once again, their strong and ongoing commitment to the Regional Monetary Integration Initiative, which aims to foster economic cooperation and stability across member states. What prompted them to meet? This is the question we need to ask ourselves. But these people met because obviously Senegal is preparing to leave the CFA franc. The AES is already getting ready as well. But for the AES, it doesn't bother them too much. It doesn't traumatize them as much as it does for Senegal. So they met to reaffirm their commitment to the initiative. He continues by saying this: the single currency requires certain conditions, convergence criteria. So all 12 member states would need to agree. He says this: the 12 member states cannot join simultaneously, but the goal remains regional unity through a common currency. He himself acknowledges that not all 12 states will be able to join the single currency initiative at the same time. They know it's a lie. They say, but the goal remains the same. Just words. And that's Macron who put those words in their mouths. That's how they have to speak. They have to give Senegal hope. And then, what date does he give? 2027. By then, how many years will Diomaye Faye have served in office? So starting from 2027, they'll say again, well, listen, in 2030. So they have to use every possible means. France demands that every possible means be used to keep Senegal in the CFA franc. Otherwise, it's over for the French economy. Otherwise, it's finished. He continues, he says this. He says, the final decisions belong to the West Africans themselves and not to outsiders. What concrete thing is he saying? Nothing concrete. I thought, and many like me thought, that this gentleman who is speaking was going to say, well, here is the schedule we have planned. From this period to that period, we are going to proceed with this. From this period to that period, we will do this. And in the end, we will put the common currency, the ECO, into effect. But they don't say that. They simply limit themselves to announcing a date. In 2027, we will launch the ECO. It's a way to buy time with Senegal to say, wait, stay calm, come join the game. So if Senegal follows this, the announced march toward sovereignty, the announced move toward a break, risks being compromised. We fully understand that it's not easy to immediately establish your own currency. Look, Guinea created its own currency. Guinea went through a lot of hardship because of it. Today, for better or worse, we are managing to get by. Up until now, the Sahel states, when the different presidents, our 3 different presidents, also find themselves in trouble, they want to quickly pull out, but the issue of currency comes with certain requirements. Otherwise, they would have left a long time ago. So it's going to be difficult, but we absolutely shouldn't rely on what ECOWAS has just declared. ECOWAS wants to deceive, and the order comes from above. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story in international news. Thank you for sharing it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news updates. This was the voice of your one and only samurai.